why would the reality where we in the end of the day feel bad is the better reality? That doesn't make sense. But we always try, or we tend to think that because we are used to it maybe. There's this one important Stanford study you probably heard of, that apparently humans have around 60,000 thoughts per day and 90% of it are repetitive. So what does it mean? That 54,000 thoughts per day are like bad ones, are like ones we already know. And in general, it's an interesting thought experiment that why do we think at all? Because we know what we think. Like, why do we have to verbalize it in our minds to form sentences to talk to ourselves? My main point is here that most of the thoughts we have are self-esteem destructive thoughts. That means that the thoughts we have are probably not like, I can do everything I want. Of course, they will like me. If I talk to that person, he or she will definitely like me. I will totally get this job. I'm capable of everything I want. I can achieve everything. Probably not these thoughts. They're probably thoughts like, oh, they don't like me. They must think that I'm weird. And the thing is, we think these thoughts subconsciously all the time. They are in our minds all the time. And it's probably some of the last thought you go to bed with. You are worried about the next day, about the future, of things that come up, about the next month, about the bills you have to pay, about the rent you have to pay, about like if that specific person will love you or not, or how other people will react to you if you do that tomorrow. You worry probably all the time, and you go to bed with that thoughts. And it's probably the first thought in your mind, or the first feeling you have, worry about the future, or thinking about an embarrassing moment in the past. Because the interesting thing is that our thoughts create emotions, and our emotions create actions or behavior, or actually also non-actions. And our behaviors, if we repeat them long enough, they become a habit. And our habits form our life or our lifestyle. So we can trace back the life we have, the lifestyle we have, to the initial thoughts we have. Most people, if they go to bed when they worry or have negative thoughts about themselves, about the world, about money, about love, about abundance in general, they marinate in that thought overnight, over 6, 7, 8, 9 hours, or how long they sleep. And they wake up with the exact same feeling, or actually with a inflated feeling of it, because the last 8 hours they were like marinating in it, and they cannot help to see the world in a much worse place than the night before they went to bed. Focus on your thoughts, and if you cannot do it in your everyday life, in your day-to-day life, because you're busy with work and all that stuff, just focus on your thoughts the minute before you go to sleep and the minute you wake up in the morning. And if you can focus on your thoughts, you probably also can press the like button. It will not only help the channel, but I can see then that you like these kind of videos, and I can give you more information and more advice in it, and we both can make your life way better. Awesome. But the main thing is that the thoughts we have are not only, of course, repetitive, but also probably self-esteem destroying. And this is like something we need to address. We need to put our focus on our day-to-day life, because like we interpret the world around us as we see them. Like everything is neutral, but when our ego is in the way, we tend to focus on stuff that is self-esteem destroying. So here's an example. You try to call a colleague, but you cannot really get through to him. Like you cannot reach him, he never picks up. And if he picks up, it feels like he's not really happy to talk to you. He answers like very briefly, and then he immediately again hangs up. And you put it on yourself. You think like, oh, I probably disturbed him. And this is like a self-esteem destroying thought. Like you put it on yourself while thinking, I should have like checked his schedule, his calendar. Maybe he's not open to a small chat. Probably he's like mad with me now. Situations like this happen in our everyday life like once or twice a day. It's totally normal. But the way we see it, the way we interpret these situations matters to us extremely. Because in this example, you put it all on yourself, like you are the bad person here. But let's do it in a like neutral way, like self-esteem not destroying, but self-esteem neutral interpretation. That would be like, oh, I cannot get through to him, he is probably busy. Self-esteem encouraging could be that if you already put it on yourself in the self-esteem destroying interpretation, you put it also on your personal behavior, on your personal self. But this time it's like you called him or her, and you assume that because like he or she answers so briefly, it's because they are interested in you. Or you intimidate them because of your professional experience and your competence, and they don't want to look stupid around you. So they answer just briefly to get rid of this uncomfortable situation. And if you think, no, this is stupid, like it's clearly like the destroying or neutral part, like why would it be the first part? Then we really have to talk about it, like, because the reality we form ourselves is our interpretation of the world around us. The reality is what we make up in our minds. And if we already think 45 or 54,000 thoughts that are repetitive to the thoughts we have yesterday, then why don't we think the thoughts that give us the most joy and love in our life and put ourselves in a better position, in a more confident position? Why would the reality where we in the end of the day feel bad is the better reality? That doesn't make sense, but we always try, or we tend to think that because we are used to it, maybe, or because it feels better, or because we don't want to be seen, because like to be seen means we can be hurt easily. So there's no such thing as the one reality. We all perceive the reality, our reality, as our own reality. There's this famous saying like, how do you know that the red I see, the red that I perceive is the same red that you perceive? We would never know, because consciousness is not measurable. And the consciousness that we have and in which we perceive the world around us as our reality is, as I said, like our reality. So if the thoughts you have, like the repetitive thoughts you have, are negative all the time, and the new ones you form are probably also negative, then remind yourself that you always have the power to change them. So actually, this is one of the most interesting findings in modern psychology. And it's actually, when I say modern, it's already 70 years old or something like this. When Viktor Frankl, who was a concentration camp survivor, he found out that between the impulse and the reaction we have, there's always the room for decision. So in every situation when we are presented with a negative impulse, and we had this habit of forming a negative reality around it, we can always decide to form at least a neutral reaction to it, or in better ways, of course, a positive reaction towards it. Every situation you are faced, you have the power to make it a positive one. Your reaction can be positive, and this will change significantly the quality of your life, and also your emotions and the energy, your vibe, and your charisma and your attractiveness. Everyone likes positive people. So be a positive person in the way that you have the power always to change or to decide how you will react to an impulse, to a situation. Being positive will attract the right people and right opportunities into your life. You will be from now on more charismatic, you will be more confident. And speaking of confident, there's one thing people use, I see it every day, people use it in their everyday, day-to-day life. They use it when they speak to other people, and it annoys the hell out of me, because like I want to trust the other person, I want to trust other people, but when they use it, this outlet, this valve they have, because they cannot stand the vacuum, it immediately puts a wall behind us. So watch this video to get rid of this outlet and to enjoy the vacuum more, so people will follow you more and people will put more trust into you. Like, it's a very important little habit we have to get rid of in your everyday life. So watch this video, and I see you in the next one.